Okay, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hope everybody's staying safe and had some turkey. I got inspired to do this because I had been looking for a toolbox to kind of replace or supplement my Craftsman that I've had since I was 18. And I started looking at some videos and looking at some reviews of some toolboxes and didn't even know that toolbox tours were a thing until I started watching a bunch of them and kind of got hooked on them. But I ended up getting a 44-inch US General box. Quickly realized that it's not big enough, so I'm going to get the top box as well. But I've had this bottom box for about 6 months, real happy with it, and kind of got everything organized. I cleaned up a bunch of stuff, all my tools, and put them away. And I'd also got some questions on a few of my videos about what kind of tools I was using in some of those repair videos. So I figured I'll make my own toolbox tour and kind of talk about some of that stuff. So, alright, so let's start off with everybody's favorite. Here's my socket drawer, and I'd say about 90% of my chromes are first generation cobalts. They are inherited from my dad. And if you don't know, first generation cobalt is made, or was made, in the United States by Williams. So if you compare a cobalt socket, first generation cobalt, to a snap-on socket, they are very similar. And they actually, the cobalt sockets actually use snap-on date codes. So this one is 1999 right here. So got no reason to replace those. Let's see, a few of them, like these 12 points, these are Pittsburgh Pro, just something that I needed immediately, so I just went out and got them. Didn't have any 12 points in metric. Let's see, the impacts are actually pretty recent purchase. I was getting tired of beating up my my chrome sockets on the impacts, so I went out and bought, I actually started with the 1/2 inch first. These are all Tecton, just what I could afford at the time, but they work perfectly fine. No plans to change those out either. For the 3/8, I was looking at trying to get a little something a little more premium, something made in the United States. So my metric deeps are actually made by Wright, and the shallows are more first generation cobalt. These mid links are made by Gray Pneumatic, and I didn't even mean to order these. But then when they showed up, I liked them so much, so I ended up keeping them. But I meant to order deeps in Gray Pneumatic and ended up with the mid-links. But I'm definitely going to keep them. They're actually pretty nice. And then I got a set of extra shallow Sun X metric too. Most of my stuff is metric just because most things are metric these days. I do have a full set of everything in standard as well, but it's just not used as much. So a bunch of adapters down here, swivels, some e-torques. I've only ever used e-torques one time, and that was to tighten up the steering box on a Grand Cherokee, a 2005. So the first year they used independent suspension. I haven't ever used e-torques ever except for that. Let's see, I got some more. This is more first generation cobalt stuff. These ratchets, got some 1/2 inch impacts. I believe those are Tecton. This is a gear wrench 1/2 inch 120 XP that I got for Christmas a while back, and it's awesome. I like this thing a lot. Pittsburgh flex head 3/8. Another Pittsburgh. This is the first snap-on tool I ever bought. This is just their standard F80. I got it off of eBay. I didn't know anything actually made by Snap-on, and I wanted something, so I bought the basic ratchet from them. And it's you can definitely tell this is a premium ratchet when you compare it to something like a Pittsburgh. But I still end up grabbing this this flex head, this long 3/8 flex head from Pittsburgh, mainly just because of the length. Then I got this little 3/8 stubby from Icon, my first and only Icon tool. A little tiny Tecton 1/4 inch, a couple of palm ratchets, thumb ratchets, whatever you want to call them. let's see. So you can see how much room I'm lacking in here already. But this is the Easy Red 1/4 inch bit driver. Thing's awesome. And a couple more. Here's another Tecton ratchet here. But yeah, and then I've got a hodgepodge of chrome extensions, Autocraft, Duralast. I got some Capri, like the Capri Wobble Plus style. So 1 click is wobble, 2 clicks is straight. And then a Williams, I've always called these socket drivers, but I guess the technical term is spinner handle. I have a Blue Point one too, and I used it quite often, so I wanted a one specific for my box too. Let's see, I got a set of Duralast spark plug sockets here, some more adapters and swivels. This is a Williams T55 Torx and 1/2 inch. Bought that specifically for doing rear track bars on JKs. Some more Cobalt first generation stuff. These are all axle sockets back here this is the Pittsburgh set, so it's like $40 or whatever, and you can get 7 jumbo sockets. I don't use them that often, so that's perfect. And then another set of these are more Pittsburgh stuff back here of Torx and Allens. I bought the Torx set because I needed the T50. My Blue Point set didn't have it, and I bought the Allen set because I needed that 17mm to get into a transmission fill plug. And then in the back I've got your standard Pittsburgh breaker bar. There's also a 24-inch Tecton ratchet back there, 1/2 inch, and a little grabber claw thing for when you drop stuff. So that's that. Okay, metric wrenches. This is a Blue Point ratchet wrench set that my mom actually bought me when I was like 19 for Christmas one year. I lost the 8, so I replaced it with a Husky. And then I've got a Husky 21mm as well, specifically for like lower control arm bolts and that sort of thing. A set of Cobalt midget wrenches, some Tecton stubbies, Pittsburgh line wrenches. This is actually a Carlisle set of torque adapters. These are awesome. If you do like an Evo style oil pan skid plate, you have to have these, or you can use you could probably use a Crowfoot too, but these make it way easier. Then I had been using like some Pittsburgh or some other junky wrenches, and I finally decided that I wanted to get my metric wrenches on par with my standards. So I bought a set from Wright. These are the Wright Grip 2.0s from 6 to 24. And then I've got a set of Craftsman Industrial from 25 to 32. These were actually made by Apex or Armstrong, I believe. So they're made in USA, but this was like Craftsman's last hurrah before they were sold to Stanley. So those are really nice. I use the 27 pretty often on my motorcycle. Then I've got a set of Husky thin wrenches. Actually, speaking of motorcycle, I bought these specifically for doing the chain tensioner on the motorcycle. And then a few Craftsman 6 points down here, 11, 12, and 13. Those are my granddad's. And they just ended up in this drawer. Over here I've got the gear wrench, extended length, long length, double box in, ratcheting on one side, 0 offset on the other. I've got the full set from 8 to 25mm. I got this for Christmas. Awesome. Specifically for suspension work. And then I've got a set of, or a couple sets of Allens down here. So these Stanley ones, when I was in college, we didn't have a Harbor Freight in my town. And I always found myself working on my Jeep late at night trying to get it ready before I had to go to work or class the next day. So I'd always end up going to Walmart to get a tool that I didn't have, and I was always buying Stanley stuff because that's what they had and that's what I could afford. So, but they worked fine. And then I've got, more recently, bought these Bonhus ball end extra stubby on one side with a 45-degree angle. Got those in standard and metric. Standard wrenches, so more first generation Cobalt. These are also my dad's. These are awesome. He did more like a industrial maintenance kind of work, so these worked perfect for him, and I ended up with them. I had a full set. I don't know what happened to them, but my current, all I have left is 13/16. That's where it stops, quarter to 13/16. So I replaced them with a few other wrenches that I found on eBay and at some pawn shops, but a couple snap-ons here, a random Duralast just because I needed it, and there's a AutoZone right down the road. This is one thing I do like about these. Bam, right there, stamped in it. No BS. If it breaks, bring it back to us. We'll give you another one. And then I got a few Williams Super Combos up here too. The other part of the Husky thin wrenches, some old adjustable wrenches that were my granddad's, some Craftsman ratcheting wrenches that my brother-in-law actually got me for Christmas one year, some more Pittsburgh line wrenches, Craftsman midget wrenches that are probably 20 or 30 years old, I'm not sure, adjustable pin wrench, a spud wrench that's a Williams. This is actually a proto set of torque adapters here. Another set of Tecton stubby wrenches, and then I think these are Tecton crow's feet right here too. This is all electrical stuff, cheap multimeter. It's like your $10, $15 standard multimeter. Some wire strippers. Ended up getting some automatic wire strippers that were awesome. Way more convenient than trying to squeeze these in. But when I was doing field work, these were what I would always use, simply because they could fit in my back pocket. So I had to keep my ideals in one pocket, and I keep a screwdriver in the other. And that's what I used. Climbing up around in ceilings, doing work at airports and stuff. Retractable test leads here. A couple sets of wire crimpers. These are channel locks. This is a test light. This is actually a Lyle test light. And then chicken stick. Your $3, $4 Harbor Freight soldering iron. I don't do that much soldering. If I get into it more, I'll either get like a Weller soldering station or either the Milwaukee M12 soldering iron. So we'll see. But for now, that's more than enough. I don't use it enough to justify spending that much more. And then a dial caliper. Okay, moving on. Pliers. Kind of a hodgepodge. I just kind of buy them as I need them or come across them. But some of these I've had forever. Like these Black & Deckers I probably got when I was 10 or 11. Still got them. These are grip. Right here, I believe my dad got those from Northern Tool back in the day. These are still the ones that I find myself reaching for the most. Again, some more Stanleys, that sort of thing. These are really old Sears branded linesman pliers. My granddad was a linesman for Bell South in the 60s. So when I inherited a lot of his tools, I have a lot of his old Klein stuff, Sears stuff, Craftsman stuff, channel lock stuff. So still hang on to those. They're in really good shape still. More Pittsburgh. These are Irwin's here, Performance Tool. These are garbage. Won't be buying any more Performance Tool stuff. They're just so flimsy. You can't even pinch anything really hard. It's way too cheap. This is a gear wrench set of hose pinch off, or not hose pinch off, hose removal pliers. All three sizes. I used all three of these, taking the upper intake manifold off of my JK with the 3.6. Super handy, very useful. Actually, this is a new set of channel locks here. Replace my old Stanleys that I've had forever. Let's see. This is a set of lock ring pliers. So if you do like a slip yoke eliminator on an older Jeep, like a TJ, YJ, XJ, that sort of thing, when you try to get that giant lock ring out of the when you're taking the output shaft off, this is the correct set of pliers to do that with. It takes about 5 seconds. These are made by Proto, but I think they're identical to the ones you get on the Mack truck. So spring-loaded dikes, little Christmas tree or panel clip remover tools, super handy. Set of channel lock, adjustable snap ring pliers to do the inner and the outer. I was messing with some Harbor Freight snap ring pliers, like $3 or $4 ones again. Broke them within 10 minutes trying to do the ball joints on my Cherokee. Went out to Lowe's, bought those channel locks, and haven't looked back. They're awesome. Tiger tool. These are U-joint pliers for taking the spring clips out of U-joints. Set of SK hose pinch-off pliers. Fuel clip remover tool. Hose pinch-off or hose clamp pliers. Some more of my granddad's stuff. Some of his old channel lock Klein sears. Dykes. This is a brand new set of Kleins right here. Some more channel locks. And then all my vice grips, different sizes, different jaw styles. Needle nose, curve, flat. And I was trying to find something outside of actual vice grip brands, since vice grips are made in China, and I was trying to find something a little better, a little different, and I actually found these. These are made by Grip-On, which is the same company that makes the Snap-On ones, and I much prefer this style of release, the ones where you pull it towards you. It just makes it so much easier than trying to use the ones that you have to push away from you. It still works either way, it's easier to use it one-handed. This is all abrasives, adhesives, sealants, Loctites, RTVs, wire wheels, Teflon tape, some Scotch-Brite pads, some files and sandpaper, some wire brushes, grinding discs. Just got these not too long ago. Replace a worn out one. Sawzall blades, some more tapes. I got a whole stack of DeWalt grinding wheels. These are awesome. These cutoff wheels. These are actually made in Germany, so those are really nice. Little Dremel kit for my Dremel, flapper wheel. Yeah, that's about it in that one. Screwdrivers. So I've been using a hodgepodge of different screwdrivers that I've accumulated over the years. Everything from old Craftsman to current Pittsburgh stuff. But I just recently got this set from SK. This is their automotive set. That's how they refer to it. But it's just a soft-handled, standard sizes. Channel lock pick set, mini pick set. I actually found this pick. This is a KD. I found it under the hood of my 300ZX after I bought it. And used that for years, but I found myself recently I needed a much smaller pick to get into a tighter spot, so I bought that channel lock set. Some little stubby screwdrivers. This is a JIS screwdriver from Vessel. I was into 90s Japanese cars for a while. Definitely recommend getting an actual JIS screwdriver if you're going to be working on those. Set of Klein Torx screwdrivers. And speaking of JIS, found this on Amazon actually. This is a impact bit set for American standard impact drivers. So I think the shank on this is 9mm compared to a Japanese set, which is 14. But they're JIS bits, so I have two sets, or two of all the three sizes, and that's what I use now instead of going to the screwdriver, because I'd like to get the new Vessels are the silver handles, I think, and they're the impact rated ones where it has the strike cap on the back. But if I have the bits, I don't really feel like I need it. So this is a super old Popular Mechanics ratcheting screwdriver that I've had forever. Milwaukee Shockwave bit set, and then the standard Harbor Freight bit set that everybody has. And then what's left of my old screwdriver collection there. Okay, so this is more automotive specific stuff, plus some pens and Sharpies, and there's a set of feeler gauges here. One is a wire type from Wright. One is their standard like flat blade style from Craftsman. This is the last Craftsman tool I bought from my local Sears before they closed. Spark plug gap tool, little pipe bender or brake line tubing bender. Brake caliper compression tool. This is a if you do like if you install rocker switches, this is the tool to pop the rocker switches off without damaging them. Battery terminal cleaner, let's see, coolant tester, exhaust hanger removal tool, which is awesome. A set of Tecton oil filter pliers, gear wrench, battery terminal spreaders. Underneath here is this is actually a Bleep and Jeep specific tool. It's for holding pinions when you're trying to torque them down, torque the pinion nuts down. You can bolt that to the yoke and keep it from spinning, because you can put a breaker bar or whatever in it. It's really useful. Some oil filter, another oil filter wrench that I've had forever, an old Fram one. It actually broke the very first time I used it, but this is the perfect size to get down in my XJ and get the filter off the side of the 4.0. Some filter cups, one of them was for my 300ZX. This is a pitman arm puller, spark tester, I think that's a Lyle. Some spring compressors, tire repair tool, tire deflators actually, and this is just like a $15 Alltel code reader that I bought because it was all I could afford at the time, but it's still good enough. I can get the code off and then just use my phone to search what the code means. Okay, so this is hammers, scrapers, punches, pry bars, air hammer tips, air chisel tips, whatever you want to call it. I just bought a bunch of hammers actually. I kind of decided to dump some money into that. This old Stanley hammer right here is all I had for the longest time, and I finally decided to invest in some more hammer options. This is one of my granddad's. This was my granddad's. Let's see, a couple Vons. This is like a Pittsburgh dead blow. DeWalt 3-pound mini sledge. A set of scrapers from Wild. Brass punches from Mayhew. This is a proto roll pin punch set. Just some Stanley punches. And then some random chisels and center punches that were my granddad's too. Some pry bars. This is another Mayhew. This little claw hammer I got from a dollar store. I'd forgotten to bring a hammer camping one night and needed to hammer some tent stakes in the ground, so I just bought a $1 hammer. Ended up in here. Some little Christmas tree clip removers, pickle fork, some flathead screwdrivers that have been sacrificed to make pry bars, interior panel trim removal tools, seal puller, and a Werner. This is just like a scraper, but I bought this to separate the oil pan off of a Jeep, and then realized pretty much immediately that there was a better way. But this is actually a really nice scraper. It's got the strike cap and everything on it, but I only used it that one time for a couple minutes before I realized there was a better option. And then I got one little lady foot slipper in there, and then some bits for the air impact air hammer. This is drilling, tapping. Got some machinist tools in here too. So this is a screw extractor set from Irwin. I bought the bolt extractor set and I liked it so much. This is the full set of 10. I liked it so much that I ended up buying the screw extractor set too. This is a Matco precision drill bit set. I bought this specifically for drilling out carburetor jets on a mini bike that I was playing with for a while. Some tap sockets, little scale. Let's see, I think this is a Lyle tool too. It's a stud remover. Bought that, used it once, worked great. Put it in here, haven't touched it since. Some center punches, a few more drill bits, odds and ends. Speaking of drill bits, this is a DeWalt set that I bought probably 6 or 7 years ago, and they're cobalt. I only buy cobalt drill bits because they're the only ones that are worth it, in my opinion. So I'm going to buy a drill bit sharpener, like a, whatever they call it, the drill doctor or whatever. I'm going to get that and just keep my cobalt bits sharpened and not be buying a bunch of titanium or black oxide crappy drill bits. And then back here, this is a Harbor Freight tap and die set, a Craftsman screw extractor set back there that doesn't work at all, a little machinist square from school, a mill bit, and a random tap that I needed for school. This drawer, this is all power tools. So I've had these DeWalt tools for probably 7 or 8 years now. These are 18 volt, but they still work. They work awesome, and I have no reason to change or replace them at this point. But more recently, I got into the Milwaukee line. I got this battery ratchet for Christmas, and I liked it so much that I ended up buying the little Milwaukee screw gun, which I liked so much that I ended up going out and buying the 3/8 stubby impact from Milwaukee that I liked so much that I bought the right angle drill. So that's where I am now with my M12 stuff. And I'll probably buy more M12 stuff before I buy anything that's either 18 or 20 or 24 volt. But that being said, I have some Cobalt stuff in here too. This was only 160 bucks. Came with a 4 amp hour battery and a quick charger. It's got more than enough power for anything I'm doing. And then I went to Lowe's to buy an extra battery for that. And they had a thing where if you buy a battery kit, so 2 batteries and an extra charger, you could get a tool for free. So I ended up getting the smaller 1/2 inch impact too. And then found this guy. This is the die grinder, brand new on eBay, 50 bucks. So bought that too. The rest of the stuff in here is jumbo tools that I don't really have much use for. This is a Sunex set that goes up to 2 inches. And then there's a 12 inch and a 15 inch adjustable wrench back here. You see the SK logo on the 15 inch. Some jumbo channel locks, a rigid pipe wrench, and I think that's it for this drawer. So I don't use those jumbo tools very often, but you know, when you inherit them, you're not going to just throw them away. So they're down here. This is my drawer of many colors. And over here, this is mainly blow molded cases. So I've got these are like flare crowfoot wrenches, sensor socket set from OTC, some more crow's feet metric there. This is an impact driver from Lyle. Vim Torx Plus set that I bought specifically for doing JL drive lines. The front drive shaft is held in with Torx Plus. I actually just got this more recently. I haven't even used it but a couple times. I don't have room for it in my big drawer, but this is the Sunex impact swivel set from, what was it, 10 to 19? Yeah. So I've used the 10 several times, but they're awesome. I just haven't had that many projects where I needed them, so they've been sitting down here. And then a steering wheel remover set, also from Harbor Freight. So that's it for the big one. Underneath I've got a little fold-up creeper and an oil pan catch can. And then over here I've just got, this is my granddad's old toolbox. This is actually an old gas can from the 50s. He was in Korea. He was in the Army during the Korean War, and he had a few of these in his shop. After he passed away, I grabbed one, and I just keep old oil in it, and then just take that at once to dump it at AutoZone or whatever. Extra parts, cheap parts, jack stands, light. This is like nothing but cleaners, fluids, oils, penetrants, just hodgepodge of everything, greases, funnels, gloves, some extra wire. That's an old inverter that's sitting there, an extra DeWalt charger, chain brush for a motorcycle. And then up here, that's a Milwaukee Sawzall. Actually got that for free out of a dumpster. It was brand new, and dug it out. Saw the guy throw it in there, dug it out and kept it. Some boxes from some of my stuff, a little tiny shop vac, transfer hose, and then some extra like socket rails and stuff up there. Okay, my little Craftsman box over here that I've had. My mom bought me this when I was 18. I got it for Christmas, and it's been great. I just outgrown it. It doesn't have that many drawers, as you can see. That was my biggest problem with it. I just ran out of space really fast. But I've got some little magnetic trays. These are Kubota. This is a magnet too. That's also Kubota. Little magnet on a stick. My mom worked at a Kubota dealer, so she was always buying little stuff like this for me for Christmas. So putting it in my stocking. A couple lights. These are the Braun lights from Harbor Freight with a coupon. They're like $25, I think. I bought one. I liked it so much, I went back the next day and bought a second. This is just some PPE stuff, gloves, face masks, eye protection, earplugs, some cleaning wipes, and then a torch. First drawer. This is just cutting stuff, razors, scissors, and I got some lights over here too, coast pin lights, some headlamps, and a charger for the lights. Second drawer, some zip ties, which I keep a stock of, and a couple of tape measures. This drawer is kind of just, it's got a lot of measuring stuff in it, a couple squares, angle finder. This is a leather punch. This is a carburetor cleaning kit, or a carburetor adjustment kit with cleaning tips in it too. And then it's just a assortment of Christmas tree clips because I'm always breaking those. Staple guns, staples. On the side I got a little magnetic level, a couple of hacksaws, a rag. This kid right here, this is really important to me. So when I was 16, I turned 16, I first started working on my own car. My mom bought me this Blue Point set for Christmas. This is an 85-piece 3/8 general service set from Blue Point. I think you can still get this exact set off the Snap-on truck. She bought me this to have my own, so I'd have my own set of tools. And this is what I used for the first 10 years. This is basically the only sockets I had. And I have used these things to death, and they are still kicking. The 19 specifically, I remember dropping it and I chipped a piece off. It's part of the chrome right there, but this is probably the best Christmas present I've ever gotten. And it was actually because this ratchet died that I started looking at Snap-on ratchets on eBay because I wanted something to replace that Blue Point ratchet, but yeah, and then my universal's broken. But awesome set, awesome present. This is still what I grab if I go to a U-Pull-It or whatever. This is what I grab and take with me. So, some kids my age were getting Xboxes and PlayStations for Christmas. I got a Blue Point tool set. This drawer is like, I got motorcycle specific stuff in here, rivet gun, some shears, or some tin snips, whatever you want to call them. Some cotter pins and grease fittings, a couple of hole saws, clamps, 3-jaw puller. These were a set of wrenches that I bought when I was in college because it was all I could afford from Walmart. It was like $5 each. I got the standard and the metric. And I still keep them just, if I need a hammer on something, that's what I use. And then some like little vacuum caps and stuff in there too, just other random stuff. Now a spring hook. This is extra socket rails, extensions, a couple extra ratchets that I actually got for free, Harbor Freight torque wrenches that I don't use anymore, some small engine specific tools in here. So there's a Tecumseh tool, Briggs tool, valve lapping tools, starter clutch removal tool for a Briggs engine, and some extra sockets that I've got duplicates of. I just kind of threw them in here. The very bottom, behind my Rock Auto magnet collection, this is just mainly power tools that I don't use that much anymore, except for my little Dremel. I get that out pretty regularly, but an old Harbor Freight power drill, Black & Decker, jigsaw. a Craftsman angle grinder. That's a skill saw. And then there's like a heat gun back there, some extra wires and cabling. I got some air tools in here. I don't have access to an air compressor anymore, but I've got several Ingersoll Rand air tools. I've got a 1/2 inch and a 3/8 impact. There's the 1/2 inch titanium, and I've got an air hammer somewhere right here, I think. Yeah, there it is. Ingersoll tech. Not in there that much anymore. I would like to get a better air compressor at some point soon, but we'll see. Yes. Down here on my little plastic shelf, I just got a bin full of random nuts and bolts and washers. A Stanley 1/4 inch socket set that I don't even remember where I got it from. But for a while that was my only 1/4 inch stuff. This is a Lyle fuel line disconnect set that I bought to do the, I was going to do the Boss 302 intake manifold on my Mustang. This is a ball joint press set. It's Maddox brand from Harbor Freight. Compression tester from OTC. Just some random cables and stuff. This is a Milton Industries air chuck here. Some camping stuff. This is the battery charger for my motorcycle, for a trickle charger that I actually need to hook up to it. Some more random camping stuff here. This is this is my very sad, very small welding equipment. I found out really quick that my garage isn't wired very well, so I can barely run. I can run this little titanium 125 at the very minimum, just to weld some really thin stuff. So I haven't done too much with it yet, but that's all welding stuff. Extra wires, some clamps, gloves. Oh, here's some more Milton fasteners and air chucks, whatever, that sort of thing. Up here, got a label maker. It's a bottle jack. Some more Milton stuff, a blowgun, and a air pressure gauge. That's my motorcycle helmet. Extra lens. I use it at night. This is a hole punch set for making your own gaskets. This is a really old set, but I'm pretty sure you can still buy this exact same one. Either Lang or Lyle sells it, but it's made by this company, K-Star or Castar, however you say it. And it's just a set of dies basically to punch holes, specific size holes in gasket material, so you can make your own gaskets. And then there is a dial indicator set from All Industrial Tool Supply. That's a more recent purchase as well. And then extension cord up there, and an LED light. So that's it from other plastic rack. This was a pretty recent purchase too. I got this Workbench from Harbor Freight on sale. It's like $80, but it's pretty sturdy. It's way sturdier than the display one. And I threw a little 4-inch Irwin vise on here, and I've got it bolted down with some really big fender washers so that it's held onto the it's holding onto the metal frame in 3 locations, as well as the particle board at the top. Got a little bolt checker, thread checker set right here. All my chargers for my power tools. Some paper towels, oil absorbent pads, cobalt fan. Set of Bondhuss T-handles, standard and metric, little radio. Then down here I got a little $40 Harbor Freight air compressor. Really loud, really weak. Has a lot to be desired when using that. So I think I'm going to get the Cobalt 26-gallon Quiet Tech vertical air compressor. I think that's what I'm going to replace it with. A little mechanic seat, roll around chair. Then these are all my torque wrenches. This one here is has an inch-pounds dial torque wrench. I want to do my own gears on my Jeep. That's like the next thing I want to learn to do. So I bought this to do the check preload on the bearings. So that's a really nice torque wrench, and it's pretty pricey, but These Precision Instruments is the name of the company. These are the this is the company that makes Snap-on split beam. So this is my 3/8 10 to 50 foot-pounds. But they make these for Snap-on. The only thing Snap-on does is stamp their name on it and triple the price. So these are made in the U.S. Really high quality. You can get them on Amazon. And then I've got a couple of Tectons here. This is a 1/4 inch Tecton and a 1/2 inch Tecton to 250. And then back here, kind of hiding in the back, I got a one of the most important tools you can have if you're doing electrical upgrades. A wire clothes hanger with a hook on the end, so I can chase wires through door panels and through dashboards and all that sort of thing. A big set of bolt cutters and the biggest extendable, indexable pry bar that Gear Inch makes. This is the 48 inch. This thing's a beast. So I don't have much room for big pry bars and stuff, so I figured I would just get one big one that I can change the length of. And that thing's no joke. That thing's beefy. So that's pretty much it. Got some more projects coming up pretty soon. I actually just bought these for $15 each. An old tiller and an old edger. So I'm going to play with these in the winter while I'm inside the garage and relatively warm. And the motorcycle is put up for the winter, unfortunately. But I'll be making some other videos soon. I've actually got one really big project that I'm working on right now that I'm going to put a video up on within the next couple weeks probably. So whenever I get my top chest and kind of get some more stuff organized, I'll make a follow-up maybe 6 months or so from now. See what else I've accumulated in that time. But if you got any questions, let me know. Happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you.